And that wormwood that's in it is what people think.
Makes you go crazy?
That's what people think makes you go crazy. It doesn't. But that's kind of the rumor behind it.
Doesn't it just kill, like, intestinal worms is, like, its big thing?
Yeah, that's why it was used to treat, malaria was used to treat parasites, in Algeria. Who knows how well it actually does it, but that's the idea, is really bitter things will help digestive issues.
That's why everybody thought you went crazy, because you started acting like a normal person.
Yeah, it fixed you. And then they realized they didn't like each other's personalities.
It's for medicinal purposes.
We're trying to be better, people.
Yeah. I'm being healthy by drinking.
Why don't we set this thing up while we're talking about it? Because this is going to take from what I understand, I've never used this fountain before. I got it for a wedding present. And so why don't you explain to the process and set it up for a little bit? I got your little sugars right here.
Yeah, so you're not supposed to, or you don't usually drink absinthe straight. Some people will, but it's not really the best way. You're supposed to dilute it with some water. I mean, you technically can. It's what everybody studies abroad and goes to Prague and drinks too much of the neon green €5 stuff they have, as everyone does. But this is an absinthe fountain. The traditional way is you're supposed to drip chilled water slowly over a sugar cube. Here we've already put the absinthe in. We've got a green one and a red one. This is called a Pontarlier glass, which is named after a region in France where they distill absinthe. There's Absinthe Pontarlier back in the day. And it already has it pre-portioned out, so you're supposed to fill the absinthe up to the bubble. And then you add your desired amount of water in after. You put the spoon on it, and these spoons are actually really pretty because they've got the wormwood leaves on them.
Oh.
Yeah. And then you put your sugar cube. You can put as much or as little sugar as you want. I don't love mine super sweet, so I'd probably do 1. But you can do 2. I've seen people do 3. You can do as many sugar cubes as you really want. And then you want to position it. Let's see which way that turns.
Did I give you the one side that's broken?
Maybe. There we go. And you want it to drip kind of slowly through because there's the holes in the spoon. And it's supposed to slowly dissolve the sugar through. And then what you're supposed to get in a good quality absinthe is a lushing effect. So it's going to start kind of becoming really cloudy in there. And it's going to go from vibrant to cloudy. And that's how you see it. But you want that slow dissolve of the sugar.
That is cool.
That is so cool. And this is where the green fairy came in, right?
Yeah, and that's also kind of why the fairy's up there. And the idea is it's part of the ritual is drinking it. If you were a wealthy Frenchman back in the day, you'd go to a cafe, you'd watch the experience, you'd feel really classy because you see kind of the science behind it. It's getting really cloudy now. It was a whole part of the experience. And you want it to be about, it differs on preference, but about 1 part absinthe to about 3 to 4 parts water is usually the typical.
Okay. Let's just set up the red one. So, a little bit about our spirits. First one, this green one, is the Tuscaloosa Green. Okay. This is made in New Orleans, a couple blocks from the French Quarter. For what my understanding is the guy who makes this is a tiny, 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 tiny distillery. And he's apparently only open Saturday and Sunday. And it's kind of, I think, more of a hobby than a career path. And I've never tried it before, so I was really excited. I want to get something local. And then the next one, our red one, is our Corsair's absinthe. Shout out to Ash, who told me I have to go to that distillery and purchase it. I've tried it by itself. I drank it, I guess, the wrong way by itself. And a lot of it, very, very good. And you can check out above, I made an old-fashioned with it. But look at the red one.
That's really cool. I haven't tried a red absinthe. I love that.
It looks like a raspberry, a pink raspberry almost. Oop, I think this one's done.
Yep, and then we can that last little bit of the sugar.
Ooh. And then we have some pour glasses for you guys to try it. Let me go get 2 more glasses. I totally forgot that we probably shouldn't share glasses.
Because of COVID? It's because of the little, the plague. If anything cures COVID, it's probably this.
That's a fair point.
Maybe it causes it. We don't know. I'm not a scientist.
You're just an absinthe
I'm just
expert.
an absinthe expert.
Well, this one is 136 proof.
Yeah, that'll cure anything.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. That looks so pretty. I do like the different colors. Do you really know a lot of the differences between the red and the green?
Not particularly. I think it's just a difference in the herbs in there. There always should be.
Mm-hmm.
The three big herbs are your anise, your wormwood, and then fennel is usually the third one. I believe it's a Florentine fennel, but I could be wrong. But they'll just use a slightly different herb content in there. A lot of times, like a Swiss absinthe, traditionally a French absinthe is usually more green, and a Swiss absinthe tends to be an absinthe blanche. I know La Clandestine is a Swiss absinthe that's really popular in the US. So that's when you see a lot.
So you could smell that like licorice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a knife on the table. Like true French tradition.
Absolutely.
I think this one's kind of broken.
Is
yeah,
it?
There we go. So watch out on that one.
Am I drinking out of this?
Yeah. We gave you the nice
Right.
glasses.
Thank
'cause,
you. I'm the honored guest.
Yes, because you're the honored guest. We took out the good dishes, the gnome dishes for you.
Those were so cute.
Did you see the shaker behind your head?
No. Oh my gosh. That's great. Okay. You're very on brand here.
AOB, always on brand. So I guess we'll try the green one first. The Tuscaloosa Green.
Toulouse.
Okay.
Toulouse Green. That's why we brought an expert.
Smells like absinthe.
Alright. Santé.
So what was that mean?
Santé is health. It means cheers, like salud in French. You do like à votre santé, to your health.
Oh, it's very lax.
Yeah.
It is.
On the anise, that licorice.
Mm-hmm.
And very sweet.
I like that. I like the sweetness.
Eli's a hummingbird.
You could put sugar in water, I'll drink it.
That's basically what this is. Just a little touch of booze in it. Yeah, that's part of why people could drink so much, is it's not like a whiskey or anything that burns while it goes down. It's light, it's sweet, it's refreshing. I could drink it the same way I would drink like a lemonade.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous when it's,
Yeah, 'cause I can see-
130 proof.
Because I can see how this would creep up on you.
Yeah, it's the stereotype. The idea is that you drink it and you feel completely fine, and then suddenly you're on the floor.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of in between. You really have to work on your tolerance with absinthe because I think it takes some time.
Do you know why bartenders are so afraid of making cocktails? It's really hard to find a lot of good absinthe cocktails. It's not like absinthe is the main ingredient.
Yeah, well, I think because a lot of Americans aren't big on the anise flavor. Like in other countries, in France, you also have pastis and you have Pernod. There's, in other countries, there's ouzo, there's sambuca. Like, this tradition of anise-flavored things tend to be really prominent in Europe and South America, all over. We don't really have an anise liquor, or liqueur even, in the U.S. outside of New Orleans. A lot of people don't even know what it is or haven't really heard of it. And they say anise, which is wrong.
I'll tell you a funny story at the end.
Yeah, but so I think it's just because, as we see, so many people tend to not like that flavor because it's very particular and they're not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to do it because you don't want to do something where it's going to be sent back half the time.
Yeah. And also, too, some absinthes are expensive, so
Yes.
probably making a cocktail with a $60 bottle is probably not the best.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I get a lot of anise. I get a lot of, I want to say, I'm trying to think of what kind of flower. It's not pine. You know what I'm saying? Like, very...
that floral.
Yeah, that floral.
I don't know if there's juniper in it, but I do think it can give me a little juniper like gin notes in there. But there's, I think in a good absinthe, there's about 90 different herbs and spices and botanicals in there.
I think it's violet almost. Does that?
That's it.
'Cause it
Violet.
tastes-
There we go.
We tried a violet liqueur
Okay.
a while ago.
Oh, the
and-
crème villa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it has that sort of aftertaste of it.
That's the word. You nailed it right there. Yeah, it has that kind of violent.
I'm running through the Rolodex of like 3 flowers that I know. I'm like, does it taste like this
it's
one?
Not a sunflower.
It's
not a rose. What's the other one?
Yeah.
Just picture you go into flower garden just eating flowers.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I can't go back to Home Depot. They kicked me out of Home and Garden section because I was sitting there sampling the flowers.
You're like, I'm a flower expert.
Yeah, I have to know.
Well, I have to know what this one tastes like.
Yeah.
So this is the Corsairs. Oh, look, it does look like pink lemonade.
It really
I'm
does.
gonna for the safety of this, I'm just gonna hold this like this. Because otherwise I'm going to forget and break it.
Oh gosh, I just spilled it all over myself.
This one is less anise smelling, I feel like. It's more... I think there's more of that wormwood.
Yeah. Yeah, this one wasn't...
That's definitely more on the bitter than this. This one's much lighter and sweeter. This one's a little more bitter.
Yeah, very bitter.
Mm-hmm.
This would probably be really good with 2 sugar cubes.
Yeah, this one's really nice. I kind of like it a little bit better by itself, but I also pounded an Hindenburg before we started, so Eli was judging me.
I was absolutely judging him.
I love Underberg. I think it's great. It's a great way to start your morning.
It is. I'm going to see, because I've had that by itself. I'm going to take a little sip of this one by itself, and let's see.
That's a little sip.
Don't judge! Oh, man. Yeah, that sugar definitely cut on that proof. This one hits you like a truck by itself. Ooh! What was that about not feeling it go down? Whew.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so that one, I could definitely see that probably that anise it doesn't come up because when I tried it with this one, that anise punched me in the face. Yeah, definitely. I think you should definitely get the fountain and the sugar for this one. That one you could probably drink a little bit by itself.
How expensive are the fountains? I mean, I'm sure they can range, they can go pretty cheap to outrageously expensive, but...
I think they're over 100.
Okay.
Because they're kind of a niche thing.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also nice to look at, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can put other stuff in it. A common misconception I've found people had is they thought they put the absinthe in here, and then they drip it into, like...
I mean, until about 15 seconds ago, when you just told me that, yes, that is kind of exactly how I thought that worked. So the more you know.
The more you know.
If you're broke like me and very patient, you can use a Brita to just slowly drip. That's what I do at home because I don't have one of these. It works.
Really throws somebody off by having like a Brita filled with like with absinthe, and they go to grab it out of the fridge thinking it's like lemonade or something, and it's not. Joke's on them.
Or maybe they'll be happy.
I mean, they'll feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when's your getting your degree in absinthe history?
So I'm in my
When's your
first
next
year, right? I'm in my first year right now, so I'm starting to do research for my thesis. Next year is going to be when I really write it, or next academic year, so starting this fall. And so then I have a year to write the thesis, and I focus on it from an art historical perspective, so I focus on both the beautiful like Art Nouveau advertisement posters from like distilleries and absinthe producers, and also the anti-absinthe and anti-alcohol propaganda that was put out by like the French government and temperance groups and church groups. Basically when they'd have all these signs like, if you drink absinthe, you're going to hell, with like a devil on it. I love that stuff. Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that point you could put just about anything on it and say you're going to hell.
Yeah, there's a really
Which
fun
just means
one.
we're just going to party hard.
I think that's what the
Absolutely.
character from Waterboy was based off his mama. Very educational show.
Yeah. You gotta look at it from all angles.
For all angles. Well, thank you so much, Molly. We're gonna have Molly taste some other random stuff that she's not an expert on.
Fun.
But thank you for coming out. And guys, if you have any questions, you can put down the link below and in the comments below, and we could do another episode of Absinthe. Because I love this stuff.
And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little bell notification button in the corner so you can stay up to date with our latest videos. And the merch!
Yes!
Our lovely faces, just to show all of your drinking friends what kind of alcohol savant you really are. And so that way when you go out to a bar, you can impress everybody with your knowledge of stuff.
And you're like, pull out that Brita filter, and they're going to be like,
Yeah.
Whoa!
When you bring people over to a party and you use the Brita filter for your absinthe, it makes you look classy.
I will say, one of our coworkers went over to your house and was like, there's fountains for it? I thought you just use them.
No, you just use a Brita. Very slowly.
She was like, why do you buy a fountain?
Bonus points if you leave it in the fridge and you just crouch in front of it. And you're like, I'll be over in 2 minutes.
I had a rough day. Just give me this.
There's no water, it's just absinthe.
Another favorite cocktail is Death in the Afternoon, and it's absinthe and champagne. Great.
With a sugar cube.
It is great. No sugar. It's wonderful for like the day after the party when you have half a bottle of flat champagne that you don't know what to do with. Just mix it with absinthe.
Okay.
Doesn't make you feel better, but
Well,
you know.
That might be something we could try.
Down in the afternoon.
Now we just need some champagne.
Some
champagne. Yeah.
But remember that the tavern
is always open.
Cheers.